Greetings, Earthlings and humans and non-humans, especially animals, far smarter than any human. Animals are really the key to everything. I haven't gone off on this yet. Last week when I was on the show, and that is God One, Fuck You, watch that so you'll be able to reference things I say today because I wanted to do a continuation of that show. Oh, now I forgot what I was saying. Welcome to the Roseanne Barr podcast.
Oh, you see, my patience is growing thin.
Today we're going to have a transmigration of souls day. Because it's amazing. Remember on my last show where I said Oprah cheated and that it was on motherfucking videotape and the bitch cheated and everything like that? And I said they tried to beat me down because Oprah said, stop saying I cheated. And I kept saying she stood up at the end. Remember on the last podcast? Well, Okay, so I went back and watched it again, and it blew my motherfucking mind. Pardon my française. But it did blow my mind because, you know what? I stood up at the end. I couldn't believe it. It was my memory or my thinking. It was in a perverse reverse, and I figured it out. It's because at that time I was a Democrat. And so anything bad that I did, I projected it onto the other party so that I could play the victim. That was very much a part of it. And, I know people watch my show, and Hollywood is definitely scared. They're scared when Sharon Stone steals your shit word for word and then does that leftist Democrat reversal on the shit. Like, what do I always say about the left? Their arrogance and ignorance are married, and that's what brings them down. Well, so I see Ms. Sharon Stone. I just couldn't fucking believe it. She called us on the red side, She said that we were, pretty much garbage and deplorables that don't have passports and aren't as sophisticated as her, whatever. And just the most classist horseshit I've heard in I don't know how many, since I left Hollywood. But I'm going to show some of those clips and then just show, I know she's watching my show, and here's what Hollywood does, as I always say. They can't get no ideas of their fucking own, so they just watch me and steal it. But they're doing so poorly without me there to be the backbone of leftist Democrats, that they're just fucking imploding, and I love it. And that's what I intended from the beginning, and I love seeing those dominoes fall. Good. Fall, Babylon, you motherfucker. So anyway, I wanted to say Sharon Stone is stealing my shit because she's a dirty bitch. And you know what, Sharon Stone? I remember all the shit you did, honey. I know what you do. I know how you treat your boyfriends, too. And I know when you came on my show, I didn't want you on there, but you bid at a charity owned by my friend Colleen Camp of Paramount, of the Goldwyn family. You bid on a walk-on part on the Roseanne show, and then you tried to get it bigger and bigger, but I said, no, it only works as one scene, and your gigantic ego was just fucking you were so fucking annoyed at me. And so what you did, I didn't find out for 10 years later. You invited me over to your house 2 times to watch movies in your new theater. Well, I found out 10 years later that you held my production people and money people over the barrel and demanded you said you was not going to come on my show as a guest star unless they built you a home theater. So you're welcome, bitch. Don't ever steal my shit like arrogant and ignorant and say that that's what the working class is. You're a fuck you. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to say. And Kamala, she's another victim of the perverse reverse. She's talking to herself in a mirror when she's all drunk like that. Don't you give up. No one can take away your power, Kamala. It was like that what was that character on Saturday Night Live where he's like, guys, I'm good enough
Oh,
and
Stuart Small.
everybody
Stuart
likes me. It was that. It made me sick. Kamala is, we just saw the vice president of the United States in escalating war, perhaps leading to nuclear annihilation, shit-faced drunk, given the loser party that lost for her, because they ran her, a pep talk for what? You should be saying we should look inside ourselves and reconfigure our party. Perhaps not representing Hamas would be a good beginning. You fucking dunce. Okay. Now, anyway, so what else did I want to say? I'm sending Oprah $10,000 to make amends for me betting her $10,000 and then saying she's cheated. When she did not cheat, in fact, it was me. And I am so sorry that I was a Democrat and so saw everything backwards, as does Sharon Stone, Kamala, and every living Democrat. But thank God I was able to transcend that limitation, that handicap, as it were, of mind control and see my way clear to saying, you know what, I fairly owe Oprah that $10,000 because she did not cheat. She won. And I was just like a Democrat.
Yeah.
Like if I stole the election and going, you can't count those votes. Don't ask to count those votes or you're going to prison. I could see myself doing it. But thank God the Lord came into my life and showed me, Roseanne, you are not the center of the universe. And you're not the biggest victim in the world because you live in America. And it's laughable for any American to think of themselves as any sort of victim just because they're fat, lazy, and stupid. I said, God, don't make me go out there and say it because they're going to hate me. He said, you must, my child. I said, okay, but it never works out well for me. He says, trust me. Anyway, so.
Can I say something? Did you see that her
Please.
internal polling, they're finally coming out her campaign today? Did you see any of it?
Yeah, they
You
said
have
The
that down?
View lost it for her because when she went on The View, they says, what, if anything, would you do different? And she's so genius. Not a thing.
Yeah,
The
can't-
borders are fucking rapists. They figured out, I'm so glad it was a black guy that said it because, you know, they won't hear it from me. But a black guy on the Diddy thing, he's against, you know, he's a big, I don't remember his name, but he's telling the truth. He said it's about child trafficking. And then he goes, I feel like I need to say something because no one else is saying it. Hey, bitch. Hello. 30 years I've been saying it. Hello. And I'm glad you're saying, I'm glad anybody's saying it. And he was saying, you know, this is just evil beyond compare that they're bringing child slaves in here.
Yeah.
And then talking about racism. Fuck. And they're bringing in these criminals. They're bringing in a criminal cartel gang to go down to where the black people live and cause some gang warfare like they're doing in every prison from coast to coast here.
Yeah.
And that started down in Venezuela too. The Hispanics have joined up with the whites against the blacks in prison. Nobody's talking about it, but that is a class war and a race war brewing.
Laura Logan did when she was on your show. She was talking about how that's designed, basically, with the cartels and the gangs to come here and do a territory war on American blacks. It's crazy.
It's a black genocide.
Yeah.
But, you know, they'll be, the black people will keep calling me a racist or about 5 years from now, they'll be saying what I'm saying right now.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, I'm really proud of you.
I am so sick of people fucking pitty. I cannot take it anymore.
Well, proud of you for watching the Oprah video and admitting that you're wrong. That's a big deal. That's an underrated quality that not a lot of people can do. So good on you. I just wanted to say that.
Well, you know, I don't want God mad at me. I mean, I just can't do that one. You know, I've already bargained my way out of all my other sins with him because I promised to do certain things for him that nobody else will do. I'll do them, Lord. Send me, especially if I can get a laugh out of it. I love it, you know. I feel really rested. I think it's because
Nice. So proud of you.
I had my beam.
Beam.
Yeah, beam.
The dream powder. Let me just set you up, and then you go off.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a sleep aid dream powder. Very, very professional, by the way. Dream contains a powerful all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin to help you fall asleep and wake up.
Mushrooms
refreshed.
are the shit.
It's all good for you,
It's
and you
all
love this
so
stuff.
good.
Yeah, you've been on fire.
Well, God made
I love
mushrooms.
it.
Don't forget that, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, well, tell the people.
There has oh, where's my clicker?
I put it on your laptop.
Oh, okay.
Behind the scenes of the Roseanne
Okay,
Barr
here we go
podcast.
on the high production
Good
costs
job.
we have here. There's never been a better time to finally buy and try Dream. Shop their Black Friday sale and get up to 50% off when you visit shopbeam.com/Roseanne. You've been hearing me rave about Dream, and this is your chance to finally try it for the lowest price of the year. So head over to shopbeam.com/Roseanne for up to 50% off. That's shopbeam.com/Roseanne for up to 50% off.
Excellent. All right, you can get back to your notes now. Thanks for doing that.
It's funny, I have to take my glasses off to look at my notes
Well,
because I can't see far with my I can't see near with my glasses,
we could put them on
but
the
I can't
prompter
see
next
far
week.
when I ain't got them, huh?
We could put it in the prompter next time.
Okay, so anyways, what was I saying? Anyway,
Sharon
so I
Stone,
think that
Oprah.
I explained the dysfunctional thinking
Mm-hmm.
of the libs because I talked to my head shrinker today who gave me the ketamine treatment.
How did that go?
It went so well. I said, this ketamine treatment under doctor supervision. It wasn't any street. It wasn't cut with nothing. Wasn't cut with no fentanyl or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
This was intravenous, and it was a safe place in a clinic, and doctor supervision and blah, blah. It was the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. And it was like a whole bunch of things synthesized. And the deep bottom of my depression moved up about 10 levels. So it's really great. That with the beam, I'm telling you, I'm flying high. And about to drink some wine. I hope I don't get shit-faced.
Well,
I've been getting shit-faced on a half a glass.
Well, you have your stomach stapling. Just sip and then stop. Just stop sipping and give it a minute and see how it responds. Just give it like an extra minute in between sips. You'll find it helps.
All right. I heard they're going to cancel The View.
Where'd you hear that?
All the podcasters were saying it.
Oh, God, that would be amazing.
People are demanding they cancel. Like last week, they had to do 7 on-air apologies of reading legal shit. And then that Sunny hoisin sauce. Hoisin, is it like hoisin is in the sauce?
I think
or
so.
hoisin?
I think it's. I'll look it up while you go ahead and talk. I'm here to.
Well,
help.
anyways, she's a full-on commie. She's probably a commie witch. I can tell she's a witch
hosting,
too.
like she's hosting a show.
Hosting a show. Well, she's nothing but a commie witch. You know, they do that voodoo over there. Believe me, I've been there. I done the voodoo. I had those voodoo years. I know who's who and what they do. Sonny, you're nothing but a commie damn witch.
Are you saying the witch, the women on The View are witches?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all in covens.
I want to hear about this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's hear about this. Didn't you say if you did a spell, it comes back on you? Is that what happened to them?
Yeah, this is the time where, according to my calculations, we're in the Esther boomerang. And we're seeing the gallows that was built for hanging Trump on. Mm-hmm. By God, it's a damn boomerang, ain't it? That's Esther. The gallows they hung for him that they built, because they didn't exist, all that lawfare, it didn't exist as precedent under law. They built it. The bitches built it, and they're going to be the ones that, as Haman did, shall we say metaphorically, hung on their own gallows, as per Esther. So that's what we're seeing. So I really wanted to talk a lot about that. And what else did I have?
Well, let's just talk about that, and we'll look at your notes in a minute. I would like you to get into that.
So I'm glad that they should cancel The View. They've said 100,000 more racist, backward, head up their ass, bigoted lies than I could ever dream of doing, and I got canned. They've done blackface, that fucking Joy. She's done blackface. Okay, so now tell me you understand racism. Okay, and anti-Semitism too, Whoopi Goldberg. Anyway, and they're saying MSNBC, you can buy that for a song. I'm going to buy it.
You want to buy MSNBC? Let's do that.
I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to, I know my punishment for Rachel Maddow. I'm not going to cut her salary whatsoever.
What's your punishment for her?
She's going to have to do some disclosing. Public disclosure. She needs to. I can't believe nobody's ever looked into what she does with her money or where she gets it.
Are you saying you know something?
Well, okay, $30 million for that hack show once a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that so important to that network?
Well, I think she's like their biggest show on that network, is she not?
Why?
I mean, I think she does decent ratings for that network.
Why?
Are you saying like this is CIA? Are you saying CIA's in this or something? What are you saying?
The CIA is a tiny little cog in the shit.
Oh, so there's this whole thing behind. Okay, you got to tell me. I want to hear this. What is someone funding her? Is that what you're getting? You don't think she's just...
She's funded by NGOs, which is when they steal taxpayer money and give it to their, quote, special interest group or their charity, and this and that and the other. That's taxpayer money that goes to fund things to take away American workers' rights.
But you don't think she just does a show that gets like a 1.5 and she gets the ad rev, like the standard model stuff?
Well, who are the advertisers?
I mean, I can look up MSNBC.
Yeah, let's do that.
She gets like a 1.5.
30 million, 30 million a year.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That's more than I ever made for being number one, coming in with a 44 back in the 90s. I got 1 million per week.
Well, it's a different thing today too. I mean, Tucker was making numbers like that, but he was actually he had a lot more views. He was getting like a 3 or 4, I think.
I got a fucking 15.
You got a 40 back in the day.
Yeah, well.
But it's a different thing. There's a lot more channels. So she does, I'm looking right now, she does.
I don't care if there's a lot more channels. There's a lot more shit out there. I don't know. Although I love the forensic shows, as you know.
But I'm saying she...
If they were showing forensic shows against my show would have been number 40. Because everyone prefers the forensics to any sitcom. So do I. The forensics are so good, especially when they're talking about the psychopaths. There's some whole new psychopath thing going on.
All right, here she goes.
What?
She averages 2.5 million viewers in 2017, 2.9 in 2018, and 3.2 in 2020. That was her peak.
What about 23?
It says here she's had a 50% drop, but that's because people are sick of her shit. In 2024, the Rachel Maddow Show has averaged 2.4 million viewers. That's a hit on cable.
Yeah, that's a big hit on cable. So that's why she deserves 30 million.
Well, you might be right that some of it's ad rev, but there might be other people that are funding her. I mean, I'd like to hear it. If you know something, or even if it's just your theory, I'd like to hear it. Who do you think's behind Maddow?
I always talk about Democrat donors.
Yeah.
Look into that.
But I know Pfizer is a big sponsor on a lot of cable.
Yeah.
News. Yeah. Okay. So that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got to say it explicitly.
Who works for Pfizer?
Everyone. Really. At the end of the day, all of us.
What's the common denominator between all of those things where people can suspend their morality? Because it's like, well, we're going to lose 150,000, maybe up to 5 million people for this. But, the profit margin, who cares? We'll pay them off. We'll parcel it out. We'll give them $700 each. What's that about?
I mean, greed.
Who are those people?
Satanists.
Bingo.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
Uh-huh.
So you think the Satan lobby is behind Rachel Maddow funding her? I mean, you're probably right.
I think the lesbian witches are. and that's who controls it. All PR in America is
Yes.
lesbian witches. Okay? They use witchcraft on the American people. They don't like boys. They want to cut boys' penises off
Right.
because, they don't like the peni. They don't like men at all. And the horror of it is they just see women as sex objects or mothers, just like the worst of all the men.
And they a lot of times they want to look like men, which is a whole other psychological thing to it that I don't understand. Rachel wants to appear masculine.
Have you ever seen her wife?
No, I'm gonna look her up.
Look up her wife.
Okay.
She's a porker. Big, fat porker.
I didn't even know.
I
she was
always
named
tell you, it's
Susan McCullough.
it's those obese lesbian witches.
Oh yeah, look at this.
Coven. I smell coven.
Rachel definitely hits her, allegedly. That looks like
Mm-mm.
that's not her.
Rachel wears the pants, shall we say.
The pants that buckle on.
Uh-huh. She puts her pants on one strap at a time. Ooh, I'm so evil.
I love it.
Oh, it's great to be
I love
evil.
you on Beam is my favorite. You on Beam.
Beam and wine and cigs. So anyway.
So you were saying, go on.
Oh, anyway, I just love going into it. Then when I found out the whole thing about the trans, because I read this great piece by this woman. It was great. We're going to put up her name and give the link. But she was saying that the whole transgender movement is really a bioengineering movement that ends with transhumanism.
Yep.
Where, when you can be bullshit into thinking that you can cut off your breasts and your uterus and your balls and your dick when you're 5 with the law's protection and insurance companies are going to crash because of this. I predict it. They're going to go because, God isn't going to allow it. And neither are decent people don't want to be invested in any of that. So crash. Anyway, they like experimenting on people just like, because, they're like the Nazis who liked experimenting on live human captive populations too, because that's what it was really about. And then they brought it to America and, Fauci himself did experiments on black orphans in New York, children, and all through Tuskegee and all other places. They've done experiments on captive, targeted, profiled populations. And what's sad is that it happened, but what's hopeful is that Trump is going to remove them.
I hope so.
Because he knows that has nothing to do with the American people, the American heart, the American spirit of building and dreaming. It has nothing. They've held us down and they're going to go. So it's great news. It's the boomerang, the Esther boomerang, where Haman and all of his 10 sons were hung. And, they were removed because they wasn't nothing but haters and thieves. They're always thieves. That's always what's behind somebody hating somebody is theft of some sort. So anyway, we were 2 weeks ago, or when was the one when we had Billy Phillips on?
2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a lot of feedback about that Billy Phillips show from my friends. And, sometimes it's very disheartening to me when I speak to other Kabbalists or students of deep Torah. And it's like they're missing the most obvious point of it all. And I know that I guess I'm the one of few. I don't believe I'm the only. There's no way I could be the only. But one of few who really does study the inner meaning of Torah, including the numerical meanings and the letters. And I find it comforting, and it always seems right. It seems to be about a calendar, the wheel of a year, and during those 12 full moons of the year, the same stuff happens in each moon every single year. Like all wars start in Mars. And I'd like to talk about that more, but it is transcendental, and there are many levels to study, and I just love study. I like to study it and think it and speak about it. I like to answer questions about it. I like to, maybe change my mind or get a new insight into it. It is the joy of my life, beside my grandchildren.
Are you saying you didn't agree with everything Billy said, or what? I don't know what you're saying.
I hadn't heard most of it.
Was it interesting to you, or you
It
thought
was very interesting to me.
Because all the
But
comments
I
I
was
saw
like,
were good.
a couple things I thought were not accurate.
Do you know specifically?
Well, we talked in email, and he made things clearer, but I find that only not many men get it, because I believe it was written for women.
The Zohar or the
Torah and the Zohar. The Zohar is the soul of Torah, because one's the oral and one's the written, and they go together, And one of them is very about the lessons of the grandmothers, how the grandmothers taught the oral tradition, as they do in all tribal peoples. So it's about like, wow, you're integrating woman thought now into Torah, which is a big, big evolutionary leap in perception, I think. It's a great time.
I thought the comments were really good. I mean, people like that episode. I don't know.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the comments. I'm talking about what I heard him say.
Oh.
And they always leave out what it's about, which is, it's about the presence of God, and its intelligence becoming visible to us right now. And we have to have the eyes to see it. And they're talking about, things that happened 2,000 years ago. Okay, that's cool. We all know those stories. But this is something different.
Yeah.
This is a leap into the golden age.
I hope so.
But we have that foundation, but we can't think the old way anymore.
Can we get into that a little bit? Because I want to talk about that, but I got to tell you about the new product from TWC real quick. Is this a good time?
Yeah, but somebody said it's potassium, not iodine, that you need for the coming nuclear war.
Oh, yeah, I said potassium.
No, I mean, it's iodine, not potassium. I'm
really?
sorry. Yeah.
Dad got me all this. Remember crazy Dad got me all this potassium pills when George W. Bush won? He got the whole family.
Because he thought we were going to have nuclear war when George W. Bush won.
Of course. All right. Well, let me just say this real quick. A TWC
Thank
at one
God
of our
we didn't.
No, well, we might still have one under Biden, but TWC emergency kits, we love them. They have a new product, Mom. This is called the Field Emergency Kit, and you can actually take this camping or hunting. So they're always coming up with new innovative stuff. This one's got an EpiPen in it. It's got non-addictive pain relief, anti-parasitics, antivirals, antibiotics. And you just carry it. You go out hunting, you go out camping, something happens, you're 150 miles away from hospital. This field emergency kit is all you need. You go to the
mall and some terrorist motherfucker stabs you.
I don't know if they have stab prevention for this, but it's just, they have
they should put a protective vest in there next.
That's hilarious.
Tell Dr. What's his face?
Dr. Drew and Dr. McCullough?
I was thinking Dr. Phil. Why do I always think Dr. Phil when it's Dr. Drew?
Your mind just hears doctor, and that's where it goes. Medical emergency kits we sell all the time. They have ones for kids. Anyway, check them out. Tell them a little bit more. This one's kind of exciting because this is probably going to benefit us more living in the country than anything.
Where's that?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I just
God.
got lighters. Here it is.
All right. This is
But I got to
designed.
put my eyeglasses
Okay,
on.
put them back on. Designed for adventurers, survivalists, and anyone who refuses to leave their safety to chance.
All
Tell
right.
the people about the field emergency. Light
My
up.
podcast is like coming to my house and hanging out with me.
Mhm.
I don't go for all that fancy shit. Like production. Anyway, here we go. Gear up with the field emergency kit today, because when the unexpected happens, you won't just survive, you'll conquer the unexpected, which that's really important. I hate when something happens and you are not at all prepared for it. First, it's the panic, and then the psychosis, and then the sweating palms. This is the perfect holiday gift for the man of the house, or the woman if she's the man of the house. Order directly now or purchase a digital gift card. This is a Rumble exclusive offer. Quantities are limited. Shop now and get $200 off today. Head to twc.health/RB and use the code RUMBLESALE for $200 off
Wow.
and free shipping. USA residents only.
All right. Well done. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love what they do. So back at it. So I wish you would get a little bit more into the Rachel Maddow, Satanist, lesbian, Colvin, and then you were talking about Billy and Kabbalah. I wish you would just go a little bit more into it. I want to hear
Well,
more.
Madonna got all the witches in. Madonna came as a spy to study Kabbalah, and I was very upset when she came because she's not even a Jew.
That is true.
And she brought all her psychopathic minions with her.
Yeah.
And
I
it was
remember.
all, oh, we're going to use this to be successful in show business. Hashtag fail. Because it doesn't help you do that.
No,
it certainly doesn't. And it doesn't help you find the right partner for your business associations.
That's what Scientology is for, right?
Yeah, that's Scientology. Keep going down the road.
Yeah. Okay.
And when she came, I was like, oh my God, because the Kabbalah Center, I always had been sitting up there at the big table, and I never wanted to sit at the big table. And I would go, I just want to be with, the grandmas and the women, because they teach you how to read and stuff.
Didn't you have to go on the women? Didn't they separate the men and women there?
Except for at the big table with the family.
That was integrated.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember.
That was male and female. But I'd just rather be with the, regular people, because the women had some kids, and I like kids. I like being around kids. I like being around women and kids. I do. I like learning Torah that way. I was used to doing that. I didn't want to learn from, with, males in my space. So anyways, I wanted to go up there in the balcony there, but they kept on coming and dragging me down to go up there and act all like I was something
Hollywood.
special.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I know they was fundraising, and I didn't mind helping with that. But then as soon as Madonna came, she came to see my Hanukkah play that Mel Gibson let me use film from Braveheart for.
Mm-hmm.
And then she started coming to study Kabbalah. That was all cool. I can't say nothing about nobody that comes to try to better themselves, unless they come to try to make money. Then it kind of gets me.
Did she come to, I thought you said she came to do the lesbian
Well,
witchcraft
she's the
stuff.
one that opened it all up to the lesbian witch coven. They all came then.
Who came, who was part of the lesbian witch coven that came
All
after?
of them.
Like celebrity, like Demi Moore came, I know that, after, right? With
All of
Ashton.
them.
Are there a lot of lesbian Hollywood people at Kabbalah?
Lesbian witches?
Yeah, I thought they all went to Scientology.
That's a religion of warlocks.
Okay. So can you differentiate this, please, for our audience? I don't understand.
Well,
the difference.
warlocks are men.
No, I know.
Witches are women.
So Kabbalah is more feminine witchcraft. The infiltrators.
It is not. Kabbalah is not.
But the infiltrators.
They came to study. because they were like, oh, they were thinking of the Kabbalah spelled with a Q,
Mm-hmm.
because there's different Kabbalah. There's one that's sacred to Jews,
Mm-hmm.
which is the one I studied, because you got to know Torah to study it. And then there's one from Spain that starts with a C, Kabbalah, and that's like Jesuit. And then there's Kabbalah with the Q, which that's demonology.
Yeah.
So it's 3 different things. So the demonologists came with Madonna because they like conjuring shit, like money.
Yeah.
They like to conjure shit. They liked physical conjuring of shit that shouldn't be conjured.
Yeah, they went there to they had an angle, you're saying, and they wanted to use it for power. But it didn't work. Cuz she went
It did for a while.
She was already famous when this was
No,
Madonna.
it did for a while,
Oh, it did?
and those
Oh yeah,
are,
she did that Kabbalah album that did really well, The Ray of Light or whatever.
yeah, which I love that song.
I did too. There's a couple
That
great
is
songs.
a great song. I include that in my classes, and we
Yeah.
break it down.
That whole
It's
album.
a beautiful song. She's, like all of us, she's good and bad.
Yeah.
Like Oprah, she's good and bad. Like me, I'm all good.
What's
But I have bad habits.
What's good about Oprah? I don't trust Oprah.
She has a desire to share, but
That's
her
true.
sphere narrowed.
Hmm.
It's a desire to share that makes a star.
Yeah.
And then you pretty soon you get like, well, I can only share this with the elites and the royals because I must wear a gown, darling. Because the pate is made out of
Human
melanated baby livers.
from Libya.
Yeah.
Wait,
Ugh.
that's such a good. Okay, That's such a good point. The desire to share is what makes somebody want to be famous. That's what you just said, right? Or makes them a star.
That's what makes a star.
That's
It's
fascinating.
like inner love projected. Yeah.
That's what you're picking up on when you see a celebrity that you like. I always
Yeah.
thought that was Satanism, but that's actually coming from a good place. Because there's people like
yeah.
when they're on their A-list game, you do feel that.
They're
you do
artists.
Right. Okay. That's really fascinating.
Yeah. An
Tell-
artist is that. I mean, there's some great artists, but then there's a lot of hacks. For every artist, there's 252 hacks
Absolutely.
that just leech off the artist, steal his fucking shit,
They're called
rework
agents
it.
and managers.
No, they're not.
But so you have this desire to share that gets you, you're a star because you're sharing with the audience. I love this.
Well,
and,
you do it with love.
and then has anyone stayed in that for a long period of time outside of yourself, of course? Because it seems like that's where you start getting tempted, right?
Oh, yeah, it's the Gethsemane thing.
What's that?
It's the, when Jesus was in the valley there and he got tempted by the snake there, Amalek.
Okay. So are you saying a star is tempted once they're a star, or are they?
Yeah, then you're really then you're burnt up in the fire, or you either die or live.
I always
You
thought,
go through a fucking.
don't you have to do some?
You go through the dark night of the soul. It's called.
But to become famous, I'm not saying you have to do like an actual sacrifice. I'm not going to get into that shit because there's talk about like Kanye killed his mom and all sorts. And maybe that's true for some, but to get famous, isn't there some kind of payment you have to make spiritually? Like, can you just say that you're a star just because you're sharing? Does that happen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That makes me feel better because a lot of people think once you're famous, it's because you've been hyper focused on it or you've
Well, that's
killed
what
your
they
mother.
want you to think.
Okay, so you can actually be famous and good.
If you're an artist, you're going to get famous.
Okay.
If you're an artist and you're doing true work that's true to your soul, you're going to get famous.
Wow. That's
Period.
profound. I love that.
That's how it goes.
That is true.
I had this discussion with one of the greats, Sammy Davis Jr.
Please tell me about that.
Well, he was a Jew.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, Sammy, what's up? I'm like, what made you do that? I mean, no one would inflict that on themselves, especially when they're already black in Hollywood.
I got one
Why
eye.
would you choose the worst fucking possible punishment a person could do?
What did he say?
He said, because it spoke to me and I felt it was in my DNA. I'm like, well, then there you go. That's what happens. Yeah, it does. That's what it does. It's in your DNA.
So he was actually like desire to share.
You ever seen him perform?
One of my favorites, of course.
All love. 100% love. Sweating, losing 40 pounds on stage, never gives up, just giving.
Yeah.
Saying, look at me, don't think about your horrible life. Have a brief moment of joy.
That's what I love.
Yeah, and I mean, he never let anybody down. He was the greatest performer of the century.
I have to agree. He's one of the best. And that's cool. You do feel that from
You know
certain
who
people.
else was great was, oh God, I can't remember his name. But he studied Sammy Davis, and he came on my talk show too, and he was a great entertainer. Anyway.
Because a lot
I have to say nobody tops James Brown, though.
Yeah.
You know, remember I told you I got in that fist fight with that girl over James Brown in 7th grade?
Oh, I thought it was the bar down the street. Oh, no, that was Bill Cosby where you got banned. What was the one in 7th grade?
They threw me out for saying that.
Yeah, that Bill Cosby's a rapist.
I didn't say he's a rapist.
No.
I said, you know, he's hanging out there at the Playboy Mansion where nothing good ever happens.
And you got thrown out of the bar and banned for life, right?
I've gone back in there just to show my fat ass that I'm going to walk back in. That fucking bastard.
Well, a lot of your, I just want to say this real quick. A lot of your,
I've been kicked out of a lot of bars, you know, the last 4 years.
That's something to hang your hat on. You should be proud. That's a very good sign.
Then I go back and buy them and fire everybody. No, it's just really sad, the level of hate that people like Rachel Maddow worked for money to divide classes and races and working people, while she raked in $30 million a year for doing it.
So you really do think she was paid by something other than just the advertisers on the show?
Well, the only way you get a job if you're a woman on TV in those kind of positions,
right?
Speaking for the left, is you've got to play the victim Olympics there, and you know you've got to mouth a party line. You can't think.
Right.
Everything that their producers write is so they can give the speech from the CIA talking points that come across at 4 a.m. that Julian Assange exposed.
Right. So that's what you're saying. She's part of the Mockingbird, whatever media. That's who's
lying to people.
Yeah, I agree.
Telling poor people that
the economy's
freedom is against their better interests.
Yeah.
Fucking lying bitches.
Well, I do think it's awesome that after the election, her ratings have tanked. That's why they're talking about selling NBC.
Yeah.
I feel like that fever dreams. Oh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, because because I named them.
Is that what
you know? When you name the invisible, you weave it into visibility, and then it becomes a power you can fight, like the dragon. When it's not named and it's just this invisible they, them, which are great at pronouns, and they use them.
Yeah.
When you name exactly who they are, well, they can't fight that shit. And their bullshit runs out, and they're just like a broken robot. You know, they have nothing to say because their bullshit hit the wall. It's like you're telling people to be against their own freedom.
Yeah. And,
you know, you're living high off the hog with your big porcine wife for it. Yeah, bitch. You're nothing but a either.
Well, you know, the Krasensteins are not on Twitter anymore.
Ah!
I mean,
where'd they go?
They might be on vacation. Nobody knows, but they haven't tweeted like in a week. But it is kind of telling that they stopped tweeting around the same time that Kamala's campaign said they're broke and they owe a lot of money. Like, because it's always been said that
she gave it all to Beyonce.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that say a lot of those Twitter accounts, like Harry Sisson and what those left-wing accounts, were paid by the DNC. And they've been...
Well, that was proved. Nobody would be for that shit if they wasn't getting money.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems that way.
Who's going to stand up there and go, well, any of the number of ridiculous things they've said, like to support putting old women in prison for showing up at the...
Yeah.
I mean, how you can't be more demonic than that, and take money for it too. You know, they're not going to be able to walk down the street without being jeered openly soon
I
enough.
hope so. I hope so. So that's the least they
It
deserve.
we know when we win is when Newsom goes outside and is jeered like Pudo up there.
Yeah.
That fucking Pudo.
Another one of your clever.
Is that
How long did you
clever?
take
How
on that
about Justin Castro?
That's good.
That's good. He
We
looks just like Fidel Castro, and his mom was a hoe, and she fucked Castro.
It does seem he's Castro's kid. It does.
He is.
I think he is. I think it's just like
Castro sitting there on all the money, all
Yeah.
that money that he stole from his own people.
Well, he looks just like
they
him.
didn't even have air conditioning, and he's sitting there in a palace. Fucking Castro.
Communists.
Fucking locked up all the Jews in Cuba.
Yeah.
Oh, they love to get the Jews, don't they? Them commie bastards.
Yeah, seems that way.
Yeah. Because the Arab Rav are big in the commie movement, you know.
Well, that was my favorite thing about the Billy episode. What I really want to talk to you about is the Arab Rob stuff. I love talking about it, but can you talk about this more importantly?
What? Am I selling something?
Yeah, we can wait.
What is it?
It's our favorite. That's why I'm doing it. Diet Smoke. The
Oh,
weed.
fuck, this is the perfect time. I have my Diet Smoke pipe right here.
Let's do it. And I'm not allowed to talk about it, but we may be.
Don't talk about
Well,
it.
I'm just going to say this is a great company that loves you, and we love
I
them.
love Diet Smoke.
Yes.
You know I love the THC. It's a God-given mind opener. You know, it does guard you against mind control, people.
Mhm.
Smoking THC and pot protects your mind and your, what do they call it? The acorn up there?
Pineal gland?
The pineal gland. It opens it and protects you from bullshit mind control of Rachel Maddow and other lesbian witches. I'm telling you what, you will be blessed when I bring you my special blend soon, hopefully, if God wills it.
You weren't supposed to say that.
Well, I can say that.
Well, you hope for it.
I pray for it because, you know, like Rodney Dangerfield told me, it's tough to make it without pot when you're old, Roseanne.
Yeah. You love
And now I'm his age. He's dead, of course. Anyways, here we go.
Yeah. This is a great
Where's
company.
my thing?
I don't know where you put it.
Yeah, fuck these guests. They're a bore. I mean, I love them, but nobody's as interesting as me. Am I right?
I mean, that's
Really,
how you feel.
I'm my biggest fan.
I know. I think
And I'd rather listen to me than anybody else because I'm the only person in America who tells the real truth. The rest of them's nothing but, well, if they're good, they're just a poor imitation of me. And most of them ain't good. But anyways, let's go on. Hey, everybody, it's Roseanne here. Let me tell you, this Black Friday, I have found the ultimate way to treat yourself. Diet Smoke Gummies. These things are the real deal, whether you're looking to chill, vibe, or just take the edge off this holiday season where you know someone in your family is going to come out as trans. Here's the kicker. Their brand new Blue Dream gummies are perfect for boosting your mood with a light, uplifting high. And don't worry, they still hit that sweet spot enough to relax you without knocking you flat. Plus, they taste so good, you'll be reaching for one more after another. And it gets better. Diet Smoke is offering 20% off your entire order for Black Friday. That's a perfect excuse to stock up on all your favorites. With 2-day delivery nationwide and their 100% lifetime happiness guarantee. Who else offers that? No one. You can't go wrong. You don't like them? Well, they'll make it right with no questions asked. Who does that? No one. So head over to dietsmoke.com and use my code Roseanne at checkout for 20% off your entire order. That's dietsmoke.com, code Roseanne. Trust me, this is the Black Friday deal you do not want to miss.
well done. All right. Where were we in your notes? What's next? Oh yeah, hit the weed. What is that? that a Diet Smoke vape?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Is that?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Well, we love them. They're the best.
The Tao that can be spoken is not the Tao. Anyway,
where were we?
no, I'm over my notes, except for I was going to say, I know. You know, you remember when I told you when I was on Twitter, when I was allowed on Twitter?
You're on
You
Twitter
know,
all the
they've-
time.
I know, but they've killed all my
Puppet accounts.
puppet accounts. They caught me.
I know. You got to specify your Twitter because you always say, I'm not on Twitter, but your Twitter's fire.
Okay, but my puppet accounts
Yes.
where I say the most offensive
Yes.
trolling that there is, because I
Yes.
love to be a troll.
Yes, you do.
I love living under a bridge with my big nose and my big ears and my big hands and feet and the big shocking tuft of orange hair. Remember the troll dolls?
Yes.
God, I loved them. Nobody else in my neighborhood loved the troll dolls when I was a girl. They all still love Barbie, but I loved it, and I had a big troll too. I had one, I guess he was this big, and he had a red, no, maybe it was blue or green, I can't remember the color, out the top of his head there.
Were you less intimidated by the troll body, maybe? Is that why you liked
Oh,
it?
I totally identified with it. I thought it was a thing of beauty and a joy forever.
That's great. See, inclusion.
What a piece of work is man, how noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action how like an angel, in apprehension how like a god.
Do you want to play some of these videos you sent me? You asked me to have these ready. Or
Remember that show? You weren't even born yet. Let the sun shine. They'll probably ban me for singing.
they should. All right, so we have. We already have Sharon Stone.
Other people think I'm a good singer. Fuck my family. They think I suck. But other people were quite impressed with my singing.
Mom will do that. She'll look at a comment that's favorable to her, and she'll think that one's true. And then the people that love her and care for her, we're all working some agenda here. You're not a bad singer. You're just not a good singer.
I am too. I'm a great fucking singer. I used to say that on my talk show, and I had a band.
No, I know.
And I would say I'm the greatest fucking singer.
Yeah.
Because I can sing in 3 keys at once. But nobody is
3 chords at once too.
yeah,
sometimes.
and 3 chords.
Yeah.
But nobody can fucking handle that
No,
shit.
I don't think you're bad. I really don't think you're a bad singer.
But that's some fucking jazz.
I think you're doing the thing where you're like, I'm the greatest
I'm
singer.
just fucking with people because they're idiots.
Can we talk a little bit more? Are you done with your notes?
I told you I was going to say, though, remember when I came back to ABC and I had to go through the lesbian witch / transgender gauntlet?
The publicity gauntlet, yes.
That's where I learned it all.
So the lesbian coven PR
Like, I
thing
didn't
wasn't
know
before
that the guy Ben Sherman that fired me at ABC, the guy when I called up I called up at ABC because I was ditching their calls for 3 days while I was out stealing roses in my mom's alley and making flower arrangements.
Yeah.
Which was an excuse to smoke cigarettes.
No, I remember the pictures.
Because I didn't want my boyfriend and mom to know I was smoking.
If you can't smoke then, at that few days after, you should then fuck anyone that tells you you can't smoke. That's
I know,
the only
they
time you
never
can't
smelt it either. I watched, and I was like, a spy for the cigarette companies.
No, there's a picture of you on the stairs smoking.
Well, that's because the fucking Inquirer showed up and took the pictures of me smoking.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that they knew I was in Salt Lake City at my mom's house, but it showed me smoking. And my boyfriend came in the room, and he was holding the newspaper, and he goes,
Busted.
"Sweetheart, you didn't tell me that you were smoking again, did you?"
Why does that matter? Well, I mean...
Because I was like this, "Oh, hell no, I'd never smoke again. Trust me."
So you lied. I mean, you just got fired and all sorts of stuff. Like, of course, you should be allowed to smoke then. Like, who would?
I remember my first cigarette right after I
How
got
good
fired.
was that? Was it good?
Because I was like in my dad's bed, my mom and dad's bed there.
Yeah. Because you wrote the tweet in your mom's
Yeah,
house.
I wrote it in my dad's bed. And I was thinking of all the weird things that happened to me in my mom and dad's bed.
Yeah.
Like I told you that one time I had that big boil on the back of my leg, the part that hooks up to your ass, the back of your leg ass
Yeah.
thing.
Well, for you, it's hard to know exactly where.
I know because I don't have that fold.
Yeah, can you point?
Because
so
I'm not a human. I'm not
Right.
the human form.
No, you just have legs, and then you're like a Gru.
I have a crack in my back.
You're Gru
That's what
from
I got.
Despicable Me. But
A what?
Gru, whatever. People will get it.
It's like a troll.
Well, where are you? Can you point on your finger where you're talking on your ass where this boil was? Just so I can imagine.
It's right where normal people has a fold between their
Right. The crease.
the crease between their ass cheek and
Right.
their
Okay.
thigh.
So
or
for
whatever
you,
that's
that's about 16 inches from the love
called. It
handle.
was just at the line under my crack about an inch
Okay. 'Cause
on the whole format.
If I'm looking at your back, it's like a pack of 4 hamburger buns in cellophane. You're right under the fourth, bottom right hamburger bun. Yes, like right. at the
No,
okay.
picture an ass. You see that crack going down the middle of it?
Yes.
You know where it goes to make a W?
Yes.
Right there.
Yeah.
Where the
Okay.
W goes about halfway through the W.
No, but I'm saying on you, where is the W?
Where I imagine it would be.
Okay. So anyway, you had a boil in your dad's bed.
Yeah, but
You
that
wrote the tweet.
sucker hurt because I used to wear my jeans too tight and I'd get every kind of boil and I loved it. Because I love those ingrown hairs. I used to go get a
So gross.
I used to go
hate
get
my
a
job
safety
sometimes.
pin and sterilize it on the fire on the stove.
Wait, when you
And then
say
go
used
and
to,
pick them out of my legs, all these ingrown hairs.
when was this? What age is this? This recent or is like
No, when I was about 13.
okay, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
What do you do now?
No, wait, I was older than that. I was in my 20s.
Okay.
I had to go to a psychiatrist to be able to shit. Did I ever tell you that?
No,
I had a fear of shitting.
you still do.
Oh, it's so traumatic
Why is that?
because I'm just wired wrong.
But is it your narcissism that you think your shit doesn't stink? I've always wanted to ask you this.
No, I know my shit stinks.
Okay,
I'm a
good.
realist.
Okay, good. Then what is the weird? You don't want people around. What are you worried about? I've never understood this. I've always wanted to ask you because just so you guys know.
I have trauma in the anal stage of
Okay.
development.
Okay, well that's fair. So just so you guys know, she won't go to the bathroom in like someone's house or
Oh, hell no.
or even in her house if anyone's in the house. Like
No, they have to all leave the
we've
house.
had to leave the house, and she has a giant house, like 4,000 square foot. This house, we'll have to leave so she can go to the bathroom. Go number 2. You can pee when people are in the house, right?
Well, I've worked my way out of that now since you've grown up.
Okay.
And I can actually go number 2 in my own bathroom
Okay.
if people are on the same floor as me.
How did you do that? The ketamine treatments get you there? Or?
No, before ketamine, I had been like dealing with irrational fears because I had like thousands of them.
But it's not the stink. Is it because you feel vulnerable in that state, like that you can't? I'm just so curious.
It's because that always hurt to shit. Because my bowel movements, now this is what some people would call narcissism,
Whatever.
but they were painful because they were not shaped like human being bowel movements.
Okay. I'm listening.
They
What-
weren't.
What are they shaped like?
They're oddly shaped.
Like chicken nuggets or puzzle pieces? What does that mean, oddly shaped?
I don't know if I care to share that.
Okay, you don't have to, but it's just
But picture a baseball.
okay.
It's not even tapered.
Understood.
So there's something wrong with my thing.
I've had one of those one time. I know what you're talking
But
about.
then Buck told me, well, you've got to like eat more fiber and
Yeah.
drink more water.
That's true.
I said, get behind me, Satan. I exist on duck fat, butter, dairy products, and an occasional legume.
Well, anyway, I don't want to get all gross, but so you're in your parents' bed. You write the tweet. You have a boil on your crack.
No, these were two different occasions.
Well, you got.
I was thinking of all the weird things that happened to me in that bed, in that bedroom.
Okay.
And I remember the weirdest of all was when I went home and I tried to clean my mom's house.
Okay.
After I hadn't seen her in a long time. My dad had already died.
Okay.
And I took out, I'd say, 8 garbage bags full of trash.
That had probably been there a long, long time.
I remembered some of it was shit I left there.
Wow. And this is recent.
She never threw nothing out.
Yeah.
Even rotten food in the cans. Keep them on there. It says, that's the story of those poor Tongans that came down there and got trapped in the basement because my mom thought they were cheap labor to move her piano downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And they ate the peaches that had been sitting there for 75 years. They got poison. It was horrifying.
Oh. Did they live?
Well, they squeezed their way out. They each weighed about 400. And they squished their way out, but the piano ended up getting wedged in the ceiling of the landing where the stairs go.
Mm-hmm.
And they says to my mom, we come back later. We come back because in Utah they brought all those Tongans and people from
Tonga,
the Pacific Islands and stuff to come over there and work. And so they says, we'll come back. And then they never did. So that piano just sit there wedged there.
Do you think they didn't come back because they were mad, or do you think they died from food poisoning?
Well, they came out. I forgot to tell you. They came out of the basement and then they puked. They puked all over the yard. Peaches everywhere. That my mom had to clean up. And then I said to my mom, where'd you get these guys? Oh, they's in the penny saver. They'll move anything for $10.
So she was going to... For people who don't know, we've talked about... We did a show with Bubby. She's famous for not throwing shit out and leaving food that's like poison. But she's made a lot of people sick. This is just her... This is her behavior. This is
but
not
everyone
unusual.
cleans her. My brother-in-law went up there and put yellow crime tape around all her food in the
does
fridge.
the duct tape. He puts everything behind it. He tapes it and says everything behind here is Bubby's, and you know not to eat it. I told you I found that green Parmesan tin. This was like 10 years ago. It had expired in the 90s. It was 2024, and I was like, Bubby, you got to throw shit out. This is expired in 1993.
She don't read those dates.
She was like, it's cheese. You do this to me. You do this to me all the time.
I don't do that. If I do that, God has to.
You're gonna get mad at me. I'm dropping
If
facts.
I do that, no. If I do that, I have to rewire. Because I never wanted to be like my mom like that.
When we live in Texas together, she left town. You left town for like a week, remember? And I threw food out, and you got so mad at me when you came back. And I knew you were gonna get mad at me because you're Bubby. So I actually took a video of the cream cheese because I knew you were going to get mad at me. Do you remember that video?
Where it was all green?
It was green like hair. It wasn't even just mold. The mold had gone 3D and foamed like a bubble bath. And I took it because you were mad.
I did see it.
And you got mad. You still got mad at me for throwing it out. And sometimes I'll pull cheese out.
I did not. I said you're right.
That one you said I was right. But
right? Didn't I say
you did?
I'm wrong and you're right. I did.
You did on the cream cheese.
Because I'm not a psychopath.
You're not.
See, I
didn't
can
say you were.
admit when I am wrong, and that's the difference between myself and a psychopath.
Absolutely true.
Psychopaths and narcissists, one thing they never do is say, oh, I'm sorry, that was my fault. Never.
That's true.
Right?
Well, I just want to say the cheese thing, not the cream cheese, because you did say that I was right.
Here's what they do
instead. You cut the mold off cheese. You cut the mold off cheese.
Here's what they do instead. They go, well, don't a lot of people blah, 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 because they do that whataboutism. They can go fuck themselves. Nothing but cunts.
What about when you cut the mold off cheese? Is what I want to get on. Then I'll
Well,
let
you
choose.
should cut the mold off cheese. That's what the French do. I was a French chef, Jake.
When were you a French chef?
I was a French chef
When?
in Georgetown, Colorado. Ask your stupid, idiot, libtard
Are you talking about
father.
the motel that you worked in the mountains of Colorado? Was you were a French chef? Oh, the Swiss. You're right.
No, at the 5-star. Oh, your dad knows the name
I'll
of it.
find
The
it. Swiss
Silver
chef-
Queen.
The Silver Queen.
In Georgetown,
So you
Colorado,
do-
a 5-star French restaurant.
You cut the mold off and you continue to eat the cheese around
Yeah,
the mold.
because cheese ain't nothing but mold anyway.
Okay. Then I'm
Cheese is mold.
Then I'm wrong and you're right. I don't. If I see something with
You
mold, I throw
can't
it
give
out.
me credit for the vast amount of knowledge I've accrued.
I can. I didn't know that. I thought when there was
I'm so
mold.
sick of men, even if I give birth to them, such as yourself,
Mhm.
they can never listen to women.
That's not true.
You
I'm asking you.
You fucking interrupt me non-fucking
I'm not
stop.
interrupting.
I
I'm
told
asking.
you to keep your comments
I have been.
to one sentence
I have.
per show.
Okay. Well, then I'm already over. Just saying, you
Yeah.
can cut mold off cheese and still eat the cheese. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Okay, then thank you.
Would I lie?
No, but you're also the person that your Bubby's kid, and she got the Tongan sick, and you've also had food that's gone bad in the house.
Listen what I said to her. I go, you know what? You should have paid somebody decent $20 and you wouldn't have to be cleaning up their puke, which is pretty hilarious for a little girl.
That is
What happened? Hit in the fucking head, sent to bed. Fucking have to get up, clean the house with my tongue. Fucking get beat.
Well,
Oh well.
very sorry.
It made me the psycho I am today. No, I'm more like a nerd. I'm more like a, not really psycho, although a lot of people have called me that. You know why they call me psycho? I figured it out.
Why?
Because I can't lie. That's why they think I'm psycho.
Interesting.
It is.
Tell me more.
No.
No, I want to hear this.
Figure it out your own self, fool.
You're doing a podcast. You have to explain things.
I
That is
can't remember
fascinating.
what I said.
You said I'm not. They call me a psycho because I can't lie.
Yeah, because they'll ask me the questions and I tell them what I really think. And they're like, that cow is speaking. That woman cow thing, other tit haver, breast, uterus, whatever it is, turf. I mean, she's actually attempting to speak. That's offensive. That's a hate crime. It's bizarre.
I haven't seen someone call you a psycho in a long time, to be fair. Except for the time you said that Democrats eat babies. On Tucker.
Well, yeah, what about that fucking guy I love? He's going down,
David
the one that
Pakman?
always calls me crazy.
He wants to come
Roseanne
on.
goes on another psychotic tear. You know, it's called reality, you stupid fucking... Listen, that hair of yours, give me a fucking break. It is not at all butch. It is not at all butch. It's time for people to redesign their image. That's what I think's going on. Now, he ran out of bullshit on the Piers show because he's I hate to say, I don't want to defame anyone. He's a philosophical peg boy of Hamas. Oh my God, I'm so sick of Hamas, which is, by the way, headquartered in Chicago, Illinois, at the University of Chicago. I don't lie. I actually research and put things together. I have an educated army of keyboard warriors who I encourage to search things, and I'm very happy to be playing the grandmother role in that noble pursuit towards equality for all uterus havers. Amen? Jake, you're supposed to say amen.
Oh, amen. Sorry.
What are you reading? Your text?
No. I'm trying to. You told me not to talk so much. I'm backing off.
Well, now I need you to talk.
Amen. We do have an ad. We have 2 more.
No, we're not doing any more ads.
Well, you have to. They're paying you.
Oh, all right.
When central bankers stock up on gold,
Oh,
it's a
I'd
sign
love
they're
to go off
preparing
on the central bankers.
We will. They're preparing for something right. Right now, they're buying gold. This is true. We just had the guy on this week, Colin Plume. We did a bonus episode from
He
Noble
was
Gold.
nice.
He was very nice, and he looks like that guy for the Punisher. I liked him. But anyway, in 2023 alone, central banks purchased more gold than any year since 1967. That's right, more than double the economic uncertainty of the 70s. Sorry, I drank too much. More than during the dot-com bubble, and certainly more than during the cryptocurrency frenzy.
The dot-com bubble.
Uh-huh. So whether you're concerned about inflation eating away at your savings or looking to protect your wealth beyond your stocks and bonds, gold is a key part of the strategy. I had to read that. You'll have to read a little something. But the truth is, we had Noble Gold, Colin Plume on. Gold is legit. And this guy's writing a book called Silver is the New Oil.
That's right.
He's convinced
I invested in more silver after we spoke.
That I was going to tell a lot of people to do that. Watch that episode, but let's give them the plug.
Silver, now's the time.
Yeah.
Even if you got $100, buy silver. Do it.
Do it. And I'll tell you why.
Start building your wealth in the real things, not paper money.
No.
Right?
Yes.
Don't wait until it's too late. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and bag up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar with a qualifying account. That's RoseanneBarGold.com. Noble Gold Investments. Protect your wealth while you still can.
Silver is now at $30 an ounce. Gold is like $2,400, something crazy. But gold is it's always great to put your money in precious metals. The reason we keep talking about this is because they're really fucking with us. I mean, even with Trump winning, like, it's just a scary time. You should really put shit in precious metals. You can move it out back to dollar or stocks in a few years if you want, but just look into silver.
We've got to have the dollar or something that is.
I just don't want our people to get fucked. That's all I'm saying.
I believe in community banks. That's what the mind of Malcolm X said, and he was right about so many things and off on a couple others, but that was a great one. It has to come from it has to be community sourced and community owned, and like community gets the rewards of that. That isn't, but not communism. So these things have to all be redefined.
How do you do what does a community bank mean? Is it like a credit union? I don't know what this means. Okay.
Community credit unions and credit.
So people pool their own money into one central place in the
community. Has to be spent in the community.
Okay. So it's not.
Yeah, your profits don't go to Ukraine.
Gotcha.
They stay in your neighborhood.
I love that.
That's what it is. That's all.
Can you do that without being part of a bank? Like, could we do that with our neighbors? Just pool.
Yeah, anyone can start a community bank, and you could research it online.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is, because there are solutions in this country to all this propaganda we're expected to swallow bullshit.
Does it have to be like in your geographical community, or can it be your community, like your compatriots all around the world? Can you?
Where you live.
Okay.
Where you plant your seeds.
Okay.
Where you grow your food, where you harvest your food.
I like that.
Where everybody puts, it's a community owned rather than corporate owned.
Yes.
Because corporatism is fascism.
I agree. Well,
and this is the opposite of that, where I always said it was profit sharing based. Community based profit sharing.
Could I go into a community bank if we had a geographical community bank with our neighbors and take a loan out? Like, does it work like a regular bank?
Yeah, you'd have to have collateral. You ain't going to get nothing on your good looks.
But I'm saying you're all putting your money in. If I want $100,000 to buy something, I can. It's like it works like a regular bank.
In a community bank. Well, it used to be $1,200. Now it's probably more like $5,000. And if it goes to starting a business that the community needs, you get tax credits for it.
That's very cool. I love that.
This was in my 2012 campaign as president for the return of the Iroquois Nation's Grandmothers' Council, which this country was based on as per Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, I remember you saying that before. I find that fascinating.
History is fascinating And I really don't see why they don't teach it, why they just teach globalist bullshit.
Well, you know why. It's like the same way you responded to me about Rachel Maddow. Like, duh. They're not going to teach you history because then
No,
you'll be
they
empowered.
just want to erase history.
Especially American history, because American history is about empowering the individual, and they don't like that. They really don't. And that's why I love that Trump's talking about getting rid of the Department of Education or revamping it, because I think they're culpable in a lot of this bullshit. Maybe the most culpable, because they have communist teachers and communist unions that are pushing communist agenda on children. They're pumping out generations of morons that think that shit works. And they're not citing history where it shows that it fails a million times over and over.
Well,
because they're not taught that part.
That's the clerk mentality of the bourgeoisie and their bureaucracies that they call socialism. But there's a way to fix it all, and it's through intelligent dialogue. And it's going to happen. And I think Trump's going to get us there.
Did you see the new person he put in charge to work with RFK? I forget the actual official job. I'll have to look it up. It's national. It's something like the NIH or whatever. But this was a guy that got fucking shadow banned on Twitter during COVID. This doctor guy, I think
They're
he's
telling the truth.
Yeah, he was telling the truth. He was talking about how the masks don't work and shutting down the schools don't work. And they found an email that Fauci and everyone worked against to put him in the shadow ban list so that his stuff would never go viral. So even if it went viral and we retweeted it and we're sharing it, it was buried like they do to you on YouTube. But that's now the guy Trump's appointed, which to me, I always talk like everyone's into the big ones and the Matt Gaetz and Trump. This one is one I got a close eye on because this guy, and I'll look up his name, I apologize. I think he's going to be the one that's going to actually go after Fauci. I don't think it's going to be RFK. I think RFK is still a Kennedy, he's still political. He's still
RFK
concerned.
is going to be for health.
No, what I'm saying is
that's
the
for
actual
like additives and
Yes.
harmful things in the
fluoride
food.
in the water, all
Yeah,
that stuff. But this guy's
those
actually
things.
going to be able to go after Fauci and the CDC because they banned him for telling, and everything he said was right, by the way. Everything that was banned, shadow banned, has ended up being proven true, and that's who Trump is appointing. I think that's one to watch. I'm going to get his name because I do think this
What
is
I
important.
want Trump to do is to reinstate the BIA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and have it run by a grandmother's council, since we borrowed the Iroquois Nation's blueprint for representative government. I think he should resurrect that whole scene that was robbed blind by Jack Abramoff and a whole bunch of neocons, because it really saddens me that we have sent billions to the Ukraine to wage war on Russia, who should be our friend. And you can read my opinion on that if you go to academia and academia.net and access my letter to Putin in 2012 when I ran for president as a socialist. But and I've forgotten. I've lost my train of thought.
Well, while you capture it, I'll tell you. The guy's name is Jay Bhattacharya, and this is who Trump's tapped to lead the NIH. They'll work alongside Kennedy. But he was actually pushing, look at this. He found out that HHS, back when Fauci was in charge, engaged a PR firm known as the Forza Marsh Group for the propaganda campaign. The main goal was to increase COVID vax uptake. So this is what they were doing. They were banning this guy. You can go find his old tweets.
Yeah.
He is now tapped to lead. I think anyway, that's one. Look this guy up. I think this is going to be the most consequential pick, probably the most impressive if he gets through the nomination process and fucking McConnell, the turtle, doesn't fuck it up. This might be the one that actually gets us Fauci. Like, we might get Fauci. We might get him at the very least to walk away, and he'll probably still get a golden parachute. But they're going to catch that everything they did during COVID. We are going to release the files, and we were going to make these people pay justice. I'm kind of excited about it, aren't you? Or do you think it's not going to happen?
I'll believe it when they release the facts on the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
Because it's all key to that.
Yeah, it is. But just people in government now that Trump's appointing are people that are badass, and they have a history of telling the truth and being shadow banned and being fucked with, and now they're put in positions of power. Elon Musk is one, even though it's not a true government position, but they can now. It's the thing that Democrats did to it. Like you were talking earlier in the show about Oprah, that perverse reverse. Like they went after, they tried to put Trump in jail. They tried to go for us because we were just telling the truth. And now we have the opportunity to actually have justice. And they're going to paint it as if we're going after political opponents, but we're actually going to have them pay for their crimes. Right? And I feel really good about it. I don't like McConnell. I don't like Thune. But I think it's going to happen. I really think with this guy, and he gets nominated and he gets put through, I think they're going to go after Fauci. Which would be amazing. I would be so excited about it. Or do you don't think that? You're always like on another plane than I am. I'm a normie plane. Do you think it's already like, you probably think they've already been assassinated by by JAG at Guantanamo already, right? Fauci's probably been dead for years. Is that what you're thinking?
I think that what we see in the mainstream media, and hence the internet media, I think they go to the same sources for information.
Yeah.
And then it's just about the spin. Because they get the same information, but they're paid to spin it, which is what witches do. They spin a web of lies. And, of course, lesbian witches, the thing they hate most is the straight woman. The mother that's married to a man and has children with him, that wants to be in a family and, be the mom and all that, They really don't dig that. Nope. Because they think everybody's basically like them and just needs to be brought out with the right person. And maybe that's true. I don't know. It's never happened to me. And of course, my specialty has always been picking the wrong men.
Yeah, you got a gift.
I've realized that with ketamine. Why do I get a guy? Why am I attracted to a guy who basically doesn't really like me or anything I stand for? And then I feel that it is up to me to win his favor. God, it goes, ketamine like really connected those dots for me. I'm like,
well, why do you?
Huh?
Did you get an answer?
Yeah, because I'm codependent. But my picker is fucked up, because why didn't I pick a guy who was kind to me? Because certainly he'd have flaws that I'd want to fix too. But I never looked for them. I always looked for guys that really hated me deep down.
Yeah, I mean, I have
and that was always frightening. It was always frightening that day when you see it.
Well, I have noticed you do tend to trust people that don't have your best interest over people that do, which I have always found kind of fascinating. Because, and it's not unique to you. A lot of people do it, but people that are actually like protective of you and good for you, sometimes I think you might see that as they're working. I don't know. I've always wanted to ask you this.
Well, it's
do you see that as an
people
angle?
I let closest to me
Yeah.
are the people who did the worst stuff.
Well, yeah.
So, of course, I don't trust the motherfuckers.
But you let them
So
close.
I'd rather get somebody who doesn't like me. Here's my convoluted thinking.
Let me hear this.
So I'd rather get with somebody who doesn't want to get close to me, because they won't hurt me.
But they end up hurting you more, because you say they never really liked me and you've wasted time on them. That has to hurt more than... I mean, don't you think
once I figure out they don't like me, I'm not hurt.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, fuck it. There you go. See ya.
Well, wouldn't you rather be hurt by someone that likes you than not hurt by someone that doesn't like you?
No.
Why?
Because I'm wired backward from all them libtard years.
Yeah.
In that thing that Elon Hersley calls suicidal empathy.
Yeah.
That we're bred for here.
Yeah.
especially working class kids.
Well, I think you have this thing like, yeah, okay, so someone doesn't like you. You think it's like this. Someone said to me one time, it
Well,
was
you
so
get
smart.
used to the, of course, you want to marry a guy that'll hit your kids in the head.
Well, you want
Because,
someone
your dad hit you in the head. My dad used to fucking hit me upside the head hard all the time.
I think you don't like confrontation.
I think
so
he scrambled my brains out.
I think you like a guy that's more confrontational than you are, because he kind of does the confrontational work. You see him as like kind of your like protector, so you don't have to do it. I've always thought that's what you're doing. At least back in the day with Tom, I think that's what it was. You didn't want, like, you don't want to fight with the writers or the networks and all those people.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right. So you like people. You tend to like men that are arrogant and brash and kind of assholes, because they do push people over. So that's, but they're not really good people. They're just kind of like they're just like a cop you sick on people. That's like, not a cop.
Dirty cop.
A dirty cop. Yeah. And it's like, that's not the best thing for you at the end, but they do get the job done that you don't want to get done.
Well,
but
they
now
end
you're in
up
bed
costing you twice as much.
That's what I'm saying. You're in bed with a dirty cop. Like, why not just get a nice guy that respects you and treats you well, and then you don't have to do that.
I remember this one time when the National Enquirer comes to me, and they're like, Roseanne, you had someone show up to such and such writer from the National Enquirer and beat the holy shit out of him.
That's great.
And I said, no, I didn't.
Okay. You didn't.
I said, I would never fucking do that. He goes, well, you did do it because the payment came from your account. I go, I would never say to go beat the shit out of somebody. Never. And he goes, well, maybe it was your husband. I go, yeah, maybe it was my husband. Then I was like, fucking that fucker's going to cost me even more money for these fucking lawsuits and this criminal behavior.
Why not just, like, there's nice people out there that would really enjoy your company.
I think that, but then, like, I have met some of them,
Yeah.
I have met men that actually are intrigued by my brilliant mind.
Of course.
And not by my, not with correcting me constantly.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Like, I mean, when you're in a relationship, there's some correction.
I always get a corrector.
Are you sure it's a corrector, or just someone that's like, hey, you shouldn't do that because it's good? Like, maybe they're just caring about you and saying there's another way to do this. Like,
I'm sure that there were a few times where that occurred. I'm
sure
not saying that all my failed relationships are the men's fault only.
I know that, but I'm saying you think
it's all my fault because I just, wanted to be in a close relationship where the guy, I could tell my secrets to him and feel safe telling him my secrets.
Of course.
Yeah.
But then if you're picking a bad dirty...
#fail.
Well, you're picking dirty cops.
Then they use it on you.
Well, because you're using a dirty cop, to use your analogy. Like, that's not someone you want to confide in. They're crooked.
They're more like they want to be my opponent rather than my partner. There comes that time.
Well, that's what I'm
saying. It always happens.
If you get someone that genuinely likes you, they're not going to want to do it. And if there is any correction,
I know
it's from
people
love.
would say, like, how'd you stay in... I can't believe you've been in a relationship for 15 years. I mean, how could anyone like you for 15 years? I'm like, right? I don't have any idea how anybody could stand me for 15 years.
I'm just saying, you should probably think about this. This is fascinating.
I never want to get in another relationship.
But there's all kinds of relationships. It doesn't have to be a sexual man and woman. Like, we have a relationship. There's relationships with family. There's relationship with work. Like, there's millions of types of relationships. If you're constantly finding people that you're letting in that aren't good for you, and then the people that are good for you, you have a weird thing with, you got to fix that. That could be really, really disastrous.
I put that in for my character in my show that I wrote.
Yeah. She's
that person. Why she's always picking the fucking wrong people.
Yeah. I mean,
and she's
it is
like,
kind of funny.
It's going to be really funny. I don't know. I think I'm going to choose to finance it myself.
Yeah, I think you should.
Because I don't want any Hollywood folk to A, read it, because they'll steal it. B, give notes. I'm notorious for not taking network notes. Although I will take the censor's notes.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I always love my censor. Neil. His name was Neil.
Yeah, he was nice. I met him a couple
I go,
times.
Neil, how do I say this in the right way? And he gave me many options.
Yeah, you like the
He
challenge
helped
of
me.
crafting the joke.
Yeah, I like crafting
It's
the
an
joke.
opponent. No, that's interesting. All right, let me get this last one out, and then we'll be done for the day with the ads. We have an awesome deal for you guys. Matarama, we talked about this before. This is the night vision goggles. They're fucking cool
I
as
can't wait
shit.
to get a pair of those on.
Yes, we are getting them. They're usually
I'm going to
thousands
go
of
down
dollars.
to see how many bums are living on the street below us.
You can use a lot of senses for that. You don't just need your eyes. However, they're able to get you an incredible holiday. So these are normally like $1,000 for night vision goggles. You can get them for $200.
They shouldn't let homeless people live around a gas tank, right?
Gavin Newsom's California, man. Well, let me
Oh
just
my
finish this.
God.
All you have to do is click in the description and grab your TAC Light night vision today. They're ready to ship it from New York. These are worth like $1,000. You can see at night. You can get them for $200. You tell the people a little bit about.
You know,
where to
remember
go
that
grab them.
movie Firestarter?
Fuck yeah, it's one of the best.
I think they're going to start a lot of fires. So you need to get these glasses because you need to see where there's a fire.
Well, you can see that without night vision goggles because
Yeah, but it helps at night.
It does. Night vision goggles are just cool. Like you said, you can see the stars. You can hunt. You can, Silence the Lambs. That's what saved her life at the end against Buffalo
Jodie
Bill.
Foster?
Yeah, remember at the end she had the night vision goggles. Or no, he did. Oh yeah, he did. So if you're that was pretty slick. Do you remember that when he flipped the lights off and he could see her? She's in there like the
No,
gun.
I don't remember that.
It's
I
a
must
great
have
scene.
blocked it out due to trauma.
It's a terrifying scene. But anyway,
That was movie's first transgender.
it was the first. Well, not the first, but it was probably the
Besides
scariest.
Ed Gein, one of the most interesting serial killers that ever lived.
Let's talk about him. Read that. And
Okay,
then we'll talk about
let
Ed
me
Gein, 'cause
read this
Ed Gein's my
first.
personal favorite.
Ed Gein.
Yeah, I
think
love
it
Ed
was.
Gein.
Oh my God, he was so obsessed with his mother. It was unbelievable. Grab yours today. These won't last too long. Visit myinfluencerdeals.com
/Roseanne Barr.
/Roseanne Barr. It went back to the bean.
I'll read it.
It went
Grab
back to
yours
the bean.
today. These won't last long. Visit myinfluencerdeals.com /Roseanne Barr. Literally $1,000 worth night vision goggles for $200. It's a Black Friday deal. It's a great Christmas present for your father or grandfather, the Hunts. Get on there. I'm really excited about this. All right. So Ed Gein, he was fucking crazy, wasn't he?
I don't know about him having these night goggles. That wouldn't have been good.
Well, I don't think he needed any help. He was pretty proficient and skilled on his own. Do you know the whole story about Ed Gein?
Oh,
You
yeah,
probably
I
know
read all the books about Ed Gein. He was one of my most fascinating cases.
I find him the most fascinating. That's who Leatherface is based off.
Yeah.
And Buffalo Bill, believe it or not, in Silence of the
Yep.
Lambs are loosely based off. This is a
Yeah.
real guy. And for those of you who don't know, he made like wallets out of women. He made
He took their
lampshades.
breasts and made purses.
Yeah. He was
the
a
guy was
craftsman.
really, but he did want to have a woman suit. He did take their skin and like tan them up like he did his deer.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to build a woman suit because he wanted to be back in his mother's womb so bad because he was that crazed.
Well, she obviously did something to him, right? I mean, there's no way he
Well,
was born
I think
that way.
she might have dropped him on his head a few too many times.
I assume there's tremendous abuse, sexual abuse. I mean, I just thought that
She's
was
probably in some witch coven.
probably.
Yeah, they're
don't-
all in witch covens. All them women.
It's not normal to like rip women's vaginas out and make a handbag out of it. Like you have to be you got to be abused. So you're not born that way. I
No,
don't buy that.
you could have a lot of mental imbalance that make you that way. Besides abuse, abuse helps accelerate it.
So you
though.
think you think serial killers are born not made, or
Yes,
see, I've always disagreed. I always think it's the other way around. We've had this,
I know we've had this discussion.
but do you think there's actually people that are just born psychotic?
I think that after 3 generations, abuse and all of that stuff becomes autogenic.
Mhm.
It becomes part of your DNA, and so you start to think that way.
That is true.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's genetic memory, but it's still from PTSD and abuse, even if it
Yeah.
was okay. So
Yeah.
we're actually in agreement.
Right.
Epigenetics is a fascinating thing. That's what you're talking about. That's generational trauma. You know, isn't that weird? This was something no one ever thinks about. This. They always say animals have instincts, right? You can track an animal. You watch an
They
channel.
do.
No, they absolutely do. And they're like, they know how to tunnel this. They know when it's winter. Penguins form a circle. That's not That's not taught. They don't go to school. It's known. It's genetic memory. And I've always found that so fascinating.
It's instinct.
It's instinct. Everyone's like, scientists are like, that's instinct. And we're like, okay, instinct. What the fuck is instinct? That's fucking weird. How do you know? Is that a voice in your head? It turns out it's genetic. They believe now it's genetic programming from multiple generations. The actual memories imprint on your genetic makeup. I find that to be fascinating.
That's what the whole transhumanism is about attacking, is genetic memory. They've been working on that through Fauci science for generations, and it is all based on illegal experimentation on captive populations. That's why they have wars
to erase
for it.
Genetic memory,
to do experiments on people.
Yeah,
but they have centered on genetic memory. They want to erase that, because once we lose our tribal identity, then we're just bots.
Easier to manipulate. Well, do you know, like Callista Flockhart, when this epigenetics theory started, she was born really, remember Ally McBeal, really tiny?
Oh, let me finish my thing about bringing back the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Okay.
Because this country, it is our shame that we sent those hundreds of billions away to a foreign country and did not deal with America's reservations and the problems of our hosts.
Yeah.
The First Nations of this country, and every patriot must know that we owe that, and that needs to become part of our big tent movement. And I just want to say that.
Is there a fund for First Nations now, like a government?
There was, but the neocons robbed it blind with all their shenanigans they did on Wall Street.
That's disgusting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
They did that to everybody's 401k too.
No, I know.
But nobody knows it yet.
I think people know. I think we knew with the bailouts, but is there a
remember when Bush wanted to give Social Security to Wall Street?
Yeah, he wanted to privatize Social Security, the dumbest thing ever. I mean, I understand the argument, but like that guy's record alone, you can't do anything that guy says. I can understand the argument, but that guy clearly showed he was incapable, and his administration was purely evil. And they fucking did 9/11, for Christ's sakes. I mean, these are the people you're going to let privatize your.
Well, I'd like to see that information released to the American people too.
I would too. I think that would be, but the problem is Giuliani's involved in that on some level.
I don't believe that.
I don't think he was involved in the planning, but he did ship all of the metal overseas that could have been tested for thermite, which is one of the popular theories. That was all shipped on ships and taken away. You can't find a piece of that building to test it. Did you know that?
No.
And I like Giuliani. He's been on our show. I always assumed it was maybe something else, some other thing at play. But the fact that it's never really come out, I wonder if it's because they're just like with the election.
Well, they're not going to declassify anything about weaponry and how it's conceived and made.
No.
They're never going to do that.
But it's like the election fraud. Like, we're like, why don't they prove? Because we know there's election fraud. But then, of course, people like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, or Republicans, cheated. So they're not going to let you see the Democrats cheat, because we're like, hey, you guys can prove Democrats cheat. Well, they cheat too. So even if this 9/11 thing was neocons, they're not going to release the information, because they're all culpable. It's all uniparty. It's Republican, Democrat, election fraud, 9/11, false flags. CIA,
it's nation building.
It is. No, it absolutely is.
But first you got to destroy the nation and then rebuild it.
Right.
It's private contractors own our government, and is an occupied government. It has nothing to do with the people who pay to keep it going.
Right.
I mean, that's bad. When I said, when you marginalize the vast middle, you are not going to be there for long.
No.
And it just, it couldn't hold. The center couldn't hold, and it just tipped. Like my friend Gore Vidal said, sometimes they just want to trick the people, because it's only one party, the money party, and the war party and all that. And sometimes they want to just trick the people, so they put a Republican in the window, and then when the people get mad and say throw the bum out, then they'll put a Democrat in the window so the people think there's change. But that's when shit gets way worse.
Do you think Trump's a part of that, or he's something different?
He's something different.
I do too. I think we all know that on some level. It's not the usual bait and switch.
He cares about the American workers.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
The Democrats surely don't.
Do you think we're going to make inauguration? I still don't know how to feel. It's such a weird time. It's such a weird time. right now, from the election till inauguration. Like,
It's not a weird time if you know how to read the signs.
right. What will tell us? Because I know other people feel the way I do. Like, oh, are we just waiting? Are they going to do something? Is something up their sleeve? It just feels weird. Like we're happy we won, but something doesn't feel right. I can't quite
I
put my
think
finger
they're
on it.
calculating their next move.
What do you think it is?
Well, I think they're weighing it in the balance, and they're like, seriously, how far are we going to push this? I think that's in their head because God put it in there. Whether they like it or not, He put it in their head because they have to question what they're doing and go, what am I doing? There's 800,000 missing children that came across this border. And America is the #1 place for slavery of children in the world.
Yeah.
And for child porn. And boy, I'm on the side of the cartels bringing them.
Right.
Okay, so then they're going to go, what am I doing? They're going to have that minute.
Do you think they are now with the
I think
election
Tom
results?
Homan gives it to them.
Yeah.
About talking about the percentage of 9-year-olds who've been gang raped.
Yeah.
And they're talking about.
And fentanyl. I mean, we talk about this all the time. That's a biological weapon. That's not a
Yes.
street drug. That's a biological targeted weapon. That's why we're working on that. That's why it's a big thing. Like, that is the cartels and China working together to literally kill people in America. It's a biological weapon. And Democrats are on the side of making it easier for that to come in and kill our children. To the point where we have to change the laws to allow testing of fentanyl, which is what we're working on now. That's insanity. It shouldn't be illegal to carry a harm reduction test.
Well, you know, when cartels own your entire party.
Yeah.
And that's who your donors are.
Yeah.
And cartels want cartel-friendly news.
Yeah. Ruben Gallego out of Arizona, who stole from Kerry Lake. I believe it's pretty obvious that.
And how many times was he on Rachel Maddow's show?
Yep. You think the cartel's funding Maddow?
Hello?
Okay. Then
NGOs.
Say
It's
that.
all about NGOs. Well, of course. That's what Kerry Lake was saying herself.
Yeah.
It's the people against the cartels.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, the people aren't going to wake up till, you know, God forbid, more of their children are harmed. Because that's the other joy that these people get. They've been let out of prison. A lot of them are convicted pedophiles, as well as terrorists. And that black guy I was talking about at the beginning of the show, he had the data, and he was saying like they've let this many homicidal criminals into our country, this many rapists, and he had the numbers like 1,800.
Yeah.
Not to mention terrorists, because they want, you know, that's an occupying government, like I say, because only an occupying government would wish and will that on its constituency. Certainly not a representative government of, by, and for the people. So they are an occupying force. I'm just waiting for the Supreme Court to look at the Brunson case, because I've really been tracking that down, and some people say they've already heard it and made a judgment on it, and that he had to sign an NDA with the SCOTUS, blah, blah. A lot of people saying a lot of things, but what I heard from people pretty straight up and high up there is that they have agreed to hear it, but they have not heard it yet, and that the American people, everybody on my channel here, needs to go to his website, and we'll put it up.
What is it?
I don't know. We have to look it up.
Okay.
Brunson, Brunson, Brunson Brothers. His name is Loy Brunson. And we need to write letters to the Supreme Court. We need to send petitions saying, we demand and ask that you hear the Loy Brunson case, which is a case of treason against the people by Congress.
The That's for illegally certifying 2020, right?
Yes,
Okay.
for illegally not following precedent and law in the illegal certification of 2020. And the Supreme Court has agreed to hear it. He's done all the footwork, but now it's awaiting pressure from the American people
All right, so we'll put that out.
because they sold our ass out big time.
I think so too. I think January 6th was a big part of that. Right?
Well, yeah, because that was their insurrection against a seated president who was at that time Donald J. Trump. That it was an insurrection against a sitting United States president who was Donald J. Trump.
Did you see Elon Musk tweeted Alexander Vindman? I always get the names wrong. That justice is coming.
He's a porky.
Yeah.
He's a little porky too.
Elon Musk is the fucking ballsy. He's like literally saying we're going to put you in jail. And I think he's so fucking... I know he's a billionaire and protected to some degree, but this is like...
He's a billionaire that's like Superman. He rejoined the human race.
Yeah.
If only Bill Gates would do it now. Let's pray for Bill Gates to rejoin the human race.
Let's do it.
And instead of trying to depopulate the planet as he always loves to do, because he's a, he's not...
More for him.
He's not doing the right thing, and he's not thinking of humans as anything but prey. And so that's not good, and God don't like that. You better try to change, and you can come back to the human race, and you'll be hailed a hero like Elon Musk is being hailed a hero right now. Come on back. Get your shit together. Man up. Do what's right. Don't piss me off. Do it. Well, Jake.
Yeah.
What do you think? Should we have another drink or should we?
It's up to you.
I was going to answer questions from my listeners, but I can't hardly see it.
Yeah, no, this is what we need to talk about off air. I feel like you want to do video reaction and talk to crowd. This is the second show that I've wanted you to do on Rumble. We have Rumble Studio. You can go in, you can put your videos up, you can talk to crowds, you can answer questions. It's a whole setup. I want to
ask people's opinion about my new...
Your mic.
Should I ask people's opinion about my new series?
I really don't think you should right now, no.
Okay.
Because you have it out and it's,
okay.
That's your call. It's still
I
technically
think
being
people
pitched.
are smart like...
I think you can do it yourself. I've told you this forever. You keep, wanting to go about the proper channels, which is fine. You've been in this business a lot longer than most people. Obviously, you know what you're doing.
Well, I want to spend somebody else's money.
Yeah, but you can crowd fund now. You can. It's not going to be hard for you to raise money to do a show at all. But you're doing your thing where you're,
Well, if I'm going to be the banker, then I have to have complete control.
Well, that's what crowdfunding is. Even if you do crowdfunding on off your audience, like GoFundMe, that is what it is. That people do it all the time.
Oh,
they're investors.
Yeah, I need investors.
Yeah, but it's not. It's
the only problem with that is you have to pay them back.
You have to pay them back. I've had this conversation with you so many times over the last 25 years.
I'm doing a rewrite.
No, that's fine. But you keep saying you've said this to me one time. People are always like, your mom's a genius. I said, she is. But one time she said this. You said, I want people to give me money and then I want to keep it all.
I do.
Yeah. And I said, that's not how business works. If people give you money, they want their money. No one's just going to give you money to do your own thing. And you've been mad at me for 30 years for telling you this, but that's the truth. No one's going to just give you money and not expect it back. Unless you do crowdfunding off your fans.
No, that was a joke.
I don't think it's a joke. I think if you're honest, you want people to pay you to do a show, and then you think your return is look how great my show is. Which you could do a crowdfunding. You can do that, and you can tell them you don't get any of your money back. Some people do that on GoFundMe. Just you're part of it. I'll send you a T-shirt. People do that. You could do that. I just don't
I
really
like
like
that
it.
if everyone had put in $2 or something.
You could. That's what crowdfunding is. There's a million stories like this where it works. It's what everything's
So I
independent.
didn't have to deal with any more fucking jerk-offs in fucking suits
I hate jerk offs
telling
in
me
suits.
what ain't funny. Because
Yeah.
this shit, this is my funniest thing I've ever written.
No, it's great, and you can literally raise it off your fans, or you can.
But it's pro-America, so I can't sell it.
No, you're gonna have to raise the money and produce it yourself.
Yeah, because they don't like that.
I told
And
you
it's
this.
multicultural and multiracial. They hate that shit too.
I mean, if it's funny, people get past it, but
They can't get past it.
You just have to. You got to make up your mind because you're doing your thing where you're talking to multiple. You're going through multiple streams on it. You're a little fractured, a little disorganized.
So
Well, that makes it kind of a mess.
that's the beauty of moi.
It's really not beautiful.
It is too.
Very frustrating to deal with. No, it's not.
You're frustrating to deal with.
I'm really not. I'm pretty
Yes,
chill.
you are. You think you're so fucking perfect.
I don't think I'm perfect. I'm just saying you could have always independently financed your own show. I've always told you this. You can raise money to do it.
Well, I didn't write it yet.
But once you write it, you
I
can
didn't
actually
write
do
it
it.
till after the ketamine treatment. That's what I told the shrink today. That really fused a lot of my broken edges. And
No, it's great.
I've been writing this thing for 15 years, and I finally did it. I finished it.
No, it's a good script.
But of course, I want to rewrite it now.
That's fine. You'll always tool it. But I'm saying we could have got this made a long time ago. You want to go through the proper channels and the old school way, which is fine, but that's going to take a little bit longer. You could have just funded it yourself. By funding it yourself, I mean you could have raised independent money to do your project.
Well, I just might.
I mean, this podcast is 100% independent. 100% independent. We don't rely on anybody. We've never.
Are we ever going to get our money back from YouTube, where they're going to remonetize us?
It doesn't matter. I don't know, but I don't care because I put you on Rumble. I've negotiated. We sell ads. Like we don't stop. We are a machine. We're not going to let some suit tell us we're not funny or we're going to get banned. Fuck them. We'll go somewhere else. That's the model today. We're fully independent. You have a fully independent project here. We didn't ask anybody. We didn't go to managers. We didn't go to agents. We do it every week, and it makes you. It's successful.
Okay, but still, I'm beholden to other platforms to not censor me.
Yeah, but you're on a platform that Rumble doesn't censor you at all.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's cool.
They don't at all, and
they don't keep my views down either.
No, they feature you.
Like I'll get 180K views on something there and get like 25K on YouTube.
I've been telling you this since we started this podcast. So many times.
All my friends send me their algorithms.
Yeah.
And you could see how backward and assed it is. It don't even make any sense.
It makes perfect sense. YouTube doesn't want this type of show on their platform because they're owned by Google. I've been telling you since we started this fucking podcast. You always go, Jake, you always think you're so smart. I am very smart. YouTube doesn't like the platform we do. That's why we're on Rumble. You only watch this show on Rumble.
How come they don't like the platform? Aren't they free speech?
No, they're not free speech. And when did you ever think YouTube was free speech? YouTube has never been free speech. They demonetize all conservative and right. That might change now that we've spoke up with the election. But I've been telling you to ignore your YouTube numbers. Your first YouTube show we did was 250,000. That was your, and now you get around 35,000. But in that time, you've gained 300,000 subscribers. That's not mathematically possible. I told you this last week.
No, now I'm getting 65K on my.
No, but then you said to me like, I need to get the numbers up, and then I said go to Rumble because they feature us. We do really well on Rumble. This is a very successful podcast, and you only look at the YouTube views.
Do not. I look at them both.
Well, you also have audio. We do very well. YouTube does this to creators on purpose. I know they do. They do it so that you think that you don't have reach and you're not successful, and they get in your head.
I know it's a curse. They did a hex on us with their lesbian witchcraft.
They didn't do a hex on me. I think we're a very successful podcast. I don't think you need to retool anything. I think you're doing great.
No, but that's what algorithms is. They're like predicting the future with reading tarot cards and other things.
Well, they're controlling the narrative. They're controlling the narrative.
But I'll tell you what, they use witchcraft to invent the narrative because it's so devilish. You can tell their advisor is the devil that wants to divide people and turn them against each other.
Google is beholden to China. I said this to you last week. Google owns YouTube. Google is the enemy.
I don't want to live in anything like China. Boy, they see you and they go, hey, that old lady, well, they don't go for old ladies anymore. First, they went for meditators. They go, hey, you're under arrest. Then they take their organs out and sell them with no anesthetic.
Right. Well, you do very well. You have a very
I
successful
don't think they
independent
even
project.
want my organs. They're so damn old and pickled.
I'm sure there's some use for your organs, even if it's just for cleaning the pot or the what do you do with
That would be my skin.
the fatty ribeye? Cleaning the cast iron.
That is just so not funny.
I'm sorry.
You're tired.
I am very tired. Well, I have to go edit this and get this thing out in the next 16 hours. So I'm be working on
What a
Thanksgiving.
world! What a world!
Well, did you get everything you wanted in your notes? Anything
Well, I
else you
did want to
cover?
say how when I was in trouble, that it was first the when I was running for president, it was first the trans activists that came after me because I stuck up for kids
Mhm.
versus Colleen Francis, a woman with a penis
Yep.
in a sauna with girls under age 10.
Yeah.
And I took the kids' side, and they were angry as hell and called me transphobic.
Yeah.
And funny, when I ran for president, it was they who mounted a campaign to silence me at all the venues.
Mhm.
And then the same people seemed to show up to call me a baby-killing Zionist when there was a port strike in San Francisco.
Mhm.
And I was speaking about labor rights. And but the number one people that the trans activists went after were women rape activists.
Yeah.
That's who they successfully erased from the cybersphere.
Yeah.
And they want to erase all women and all women's rights because they're in servitude to that whole idea of male supremacy and white supremacy and all their other gods that they worship as Babylonians.
Yeah, I never can understand their thinking. I never have been able to understand it. I don't understand.
Well, if you
it.
know that they come from the seed of Cain,
Yeah.
as per the Bible.
Yeah, it's got to be biblical because there's no logical.
They think they're
explanation.
better than us. They have different blood. They're royals.
Yeah.
They're blue blood royals.
Yeah, but aren't they blue-blooded because they intermarried in their families? Like to keep that bloodline pure. No one ever mentions the pure
Yes.
bloodline is inbreeding.
Yes.
So it's wealthy inbreeders
Yes.
that control everything. Same with the nation with Muslims. A lot of them are intermarrying. Jews too, even in the old country, but they're like marrying cousins, first cousins, sometimes siblings. So they're having generations of inbred children that are exceedingly wealthy and having tremendous influence. And basically, they're the people in charge, which would explain a lot of things, actually, if you really think about it. Like you have inbred, retarded people in charge, like insanely powerful royals.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the retards that inbreeding makes.
It's, well, how you made a king under, in the times of Pharaoh, how a king was created was a brother and a sister mated.
Yeah. Game of Thrones.
Then they talk about the elongated skulls and all that stuff. Well, it's a different breed than the rest of us. They don't have human empathy. Right. They're like, okay, it's going to kill 50 million people, but, we're going to make a dime.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen.
So
that's the pharaohs.
Yeah, but they're inbred, right? Or you think they're aliens?
I think they're alien.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they're the same soul as the human beings.
Well, if you're making a child with your sister, there are genetic maladies that happen more often, right? So wouldn't it be easy to extrapolate that there would be mental maladies and sociopathy and stuff like that if they're interbred? Maybe in the interbreeding.
I think if not them, then the people that surround them, certainly.
Yeah, but you're talking about thousands of generations of like retarded children from brother and sister. Like, of course, human stuff would be bred out of it, right? Especially if we're talking about genetic memory, like we talked about earlier. Like, there is no proper synapse from genetic memory once you're a brother and sister having a kid. Like, it all gets just scrambled. It's not natural. It's not meant to be. Like, you can look this up. You're not supposed to have
It's
child with your sister.
insulated.
It is.
So the wealth stays in the family.
Yeah, no, they do. We're
so
not making
it's
this
just
up.
practical above all else.
But I'm saying if
it's like, how do we keep the wealth in the family? Well, we do this and that.
yeah, you go.
And we go over there and kill a bunch of people and then build roads over there to transport the resources. That's how we stay on top.
But maybe it's not like the Greys and the Whites and the Giants and the aliens and the Nephilim and all that. Like, maybe it's just retarded people. For real, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, what if it was just generations of intermarriage that made these sociopaths, these reptilian people, and that's it? That would be less scary.
I don't think they're sociopaths because sociopaths fear getting caught, whereas a psychopath believes he or she will never get caught because the law protects them. They think they're smarter than the law, hence lawfare.
Right.
So I think they're psychopaths
that
control the world.
Okay.
And they are chronic masturbators.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
They're retarded. Are you agreeing with me?
They're probably really afraid of human touch.
Yeah.
Unless it's in a ritual.
Right. They don't have the normal human experience that
they have no empathy.
Right.
They just weigh cost and loss, or cost and profit and loss. That's all their whole soul is about. There's nothing human in it. I don't know if they're human because I think a lot of people that look like people down here, I know they're not human because they don't have human ideas or reflexes. Because like a human, like, cares for all the children around them.
Yeah.
And protects them. A human.
Yes, a non-inbred human or non-alien.
No, I'm redefining what human means.
Okay.
A human being has the instinct to survive and to live and to feel joy and to feel empathy for another living thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what a human being is. And to worship whatever his idea of her maker is. Right?
Yeah.
That's called freedom of religion. Another one of our constitutional rights. Which is why this country is so great. Because it's not a caliphate and it never will be. I mean, hopefully.
Baruch Hashem, or whatever you say. I pray for it to never fall.
Baruch Hashem, it doesn't fall to the children of the lie.
Yeah.
Stays with the children of the truth. And what's the truth? Rational self-interest. That's the truth, and that's what Trump represents. And we're so thrilled that he won, and I see his chess moves with the people he's picking.
Yeah.
I see it, and I applaud it all. If it's indeed the way I'm thinking it is.
Let's pray. I'm with you.
I'm always praying.
It looks good. Some things don't look great. I don't like every pick. I really don't like Thune and McConnell fucking with Matt Gaetz. Although Matt Gaetz, maybe he wasn't a good dude. I don't know, but that one really bothered me. I want people that are gonna do the right thing all the time.
I think Matt Gaetz will do the right thing. He just might have to do it outside of government.
Yeah, maybe there's
maybe as a special counsel.
That would be amazing.
I think that will happen.
All right. Well, you said it here on the Roseanne Barr podcast. We should notate that. You're going to predict it.
And I predict Ken Paxton somewhere in the background. You know, we love Ken.
I do too. I wish he was the AG. I really do. I mean, maybe Pam Bondi's okay, but Paxton would.
Nobody's better than Paxton.
I have to agree.
I hope Trump makes him vice or whatever the second one is.
For what?
That position, like Deputy Attorney General?
Or yeah. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He should.
Yeah, he should.
All right.
Okay, well, that's all I have to say for myself. Besides, I love you all. God bless you. Stay smart.